Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am going to be cutting some different kinds of cuts for Skylar's penny auctions for the paper that I cut and sell for her on her eBay. Link is down below. I'm going to be cutting paper to make chunky barrel beads. I want to show you how to roll those strips that you can possibly win on Skylar's eBay. And I thought some of you might just like to follow along and make your own paper. I'm going to be using this with a bunch of mottled colors, which I love so much. Might not be acrylic. This one might be poster paint of some kind. No matter what, it will still work. This is a good way to make chunky beads if you happen to have like something out of a magazine that you really love the design of, but there's not enough of it to cut long triangles. This is a really cool way to do this, and you can use all kinds of very unusual things out of magazines. I think I have a video like this on my old channel, but I'm going to go ahead and do it again. I'm only going to need about 2 inches of this paper. So I'm going to just trim off 2 inches. Doesn't have to be exact. And I just glued 2 pieces of copy paper and overlapped about 1 inch. You want to make sure that the edges actually have glue on them. This will need to dry before we cut, but I'm going to go ahead and add this piece to one end. Now, the piece that's glued to the paper will be covered, so if there's an edge that you like better, use that. Now I'm going to go ahead and make this the free edge because I see that there's, more red here, so there'll be a variety. There's not as much variety on this edge, so I'm going to just again overlap a little bit, put the glue here, spread it around, and I'm just going to stick that on there. Make sure there's some on that corner. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to let this glue completely dry. I made 2 like this. I'll be cutting both. One strip I will use to show you an example of how to roll the bead and to show you what the bead looks like. The auction will be for 15 strips because I'm going to get 8 out of each of these and 1 for me to show as an example. I don't send the extra bead because the shipping goes up by a lot because of the thickness. I'm going to be folding into 3. Oh, and see, I still have all this paper left for other kinds of beads. When I send these out into the mail, they will be folded, but they will still be protected by cardboard. And it doesn't matter if it's folded. I want to make sure that it fits in my cutter and also that it fits in the envelope. Because that's how I save on shipping, by sending as a letter. So I'm going to fold it this way and this way. This is 8.5 inches wide. I'm going to trim about 1/4 of an inch on each edge just to straighten out those edges. Okay, I did 1, and now I will put this on the 8-inch line. I'm going to move it over to 7. Try to keep this flap down and not let it shift. Did I say I'm cutting them at 1 inch? That's what I'm doing. You can cut as narrow or as wide as you want. Time to roll. I want to make sure that the printed end is down and facing away from me. When I'm rolling this strip, I'm going to be rolling it, and when I look at the very end, I want that end to be white. The printed end is on the other side because we want that to show when we're done rolling. Very easy. Just tuck it in and roll and just try as best as you can to keep your edges matched up. I do like to put glue as I go. Why did I forget that step? Hang on. You don't have to, but I like to. I find it, you know, just makes the bead so rock hard after it's all dried out. With the glue on there, even if you shift a little bit, that's okay. When we're done, we can fix that a little bit by pushing on the two ends of the bead. By having that extra paper, it makes the bead nice and chunky. I'm going to make sure that I have glue on the very tip. And like I said, this particular paper feels like not acrylic, but that's okay. If anything, it'll just make it a little bit more mottled. Now see, when I'm taking it off, that wants to slide. The core wants to slide because I didn't have glue there, but it's okay. Just take it off. And I push on the two ends. I make sure that end is secure. And we're not going to worry about the fact that the ends are white. We're going to be able to fix that. Just going to put that aside and let it dry. I use one of these foam frogs with toothpicks in it. I was going to go ahead and show you how to get rid of the white ends, but I actually am not, because I want to take the picture of how it will look when somebody actually rolls it. And also, my markers are all dry. But here's what you can do. If you roll some beads, you can, before you put the Mod Podge, after you roll them, but before you put the Mod Podge, you can just take a Sharpie, or I would say even watercolor, because you're going to add Mod Podge after, watercolor markers. You can even use more paint or very diluted acrylic paint or any kind of paint. And you're just going to touch up those ends so they're not white anymore. And sometimes the white will show, you know, on the bead itself. So like I said, when it's still wet before the glue dries, you know, you can shift that a little bit if you want. You could also just go ahead and, you know, put like a black line all the way around on the bead if you want. Here's another way you can handle this. When you have your strips, you can put your strip on a surface, and you can take a marker or again paint and just hit the edges. Doesn't have to be the whole thing. The inner core doesn't matter what color that is. Do that on both sides, and you can do multicolor or you can do one color. Then when you roll, the edges of the paper are already colored for you. I will show you those methods in a different video, but not in this one. At this point, I will hit this with Mod Podge, a light coat. I'm too heavy on the Mod Podge. One light coat is really all you need. If you want more than that, it's better to do a light coat, let that dry completely, and then do another light coat. I use the gloss. There's all kinds of Mod Podge out there in this world, and I don't know, but I'll try to have a link down below. I don't know if I normally do, but gotta love Mod Podge. So if you're interested in these exact beads, I will have this on eBay at the time of this video. If you're watching in the future, then this one is over, but I'm sure there's something else up there. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. I'll be back with more soon. Bye!